Okay. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all well. My name is Polly, and today I am going to speak about the Republic of Costa Rica. I'll tell you everything I know about it. I haven't been to Costa Rica yet, but that is pending on my bucket list for sure. Well, first of all, I think that it is important to start by locating Costa Rica on the map. I mean to know where exactly is it located. This is a magnificent country full of green and amazing beaches located in Central America, between Nicaragua to the north and Panama to the south. Also, it's between the Caribbean Sea to the northeast and the Pacific Ocean to the southwest. It sounds like a paradise to me, doesn't it? It has a population of around 5 million and the capital and largest city is San Jose. Oh, and I guess you already know this. Spanish is the official language. Okay. Now, having said that, I would like to tell you a little bit about its history, because there is something about Costa Rica that really called my attention, and that is that it's one of the very few nations in the world without a standing army. Alright, so it all began in the 16th century, when Costa Rica was sparsely inhabited by indigenous people before coming under Spanish rule. Then it remained a peripheral colony of the empire until independence as part of the First Mexican Empire. This followed by its membership in the United Provinces of Central America, from which it formally declared independence in 1847. Later, there was a brief Costa Rican Civil War in 1948, and after this, it permanently abolished its army in 1949 until nowadays. Amazing, right? Okay, now there are two versions about the history behind its name. In some accounts, the name La Costa Rica, meaning rich coast in Spanish language, was first applied by Christopher Columbus, who sailed to the eastern shores of Costa Rica during his final voyage in 1502, and he reported vast quantities of gold jewelry worn by natives. The name may also come from conquistador Gil González Dávila, who landed on the other coast, the west coast, in 1522. He encountered natives and obtained some of their gold, sometimes by violent theft and sometimes as gifts from local leaders. Okay, now the current situation is that, like the rest of Central America, Costa Rica never fought for independence from Spain. So what happened is that, remember this date, on 15th September 1821, after the final Spanish defeat in the Mexican War of Independence, which lasted 11 years, from 1810 to 1821, the authorities in Guatemala declared the independence of all of Central America, and that date is still celebrated as Independence Day in Costa Rica. Okay, so another thing that called my attention is that it also has progressive environmental policies. Apart from other awards and honors, it was identified as the greenest country in the world in 2009. Costa Rica plans to become a carbon-neutral country by 2021. And pay attention to these numbers. I'll speak slow here. So, by 2019, 99.62% of its electricity was generated from green sources, particularly hydro, wind, geothermal, and solar. I talked to someone who is now living in Costa Rica. She's a Chilean girl and she arrived in Costa Rica 6 months ago. She's living now in the Nicoya Peninsula in Santa Teresa. That place is characterized by its tourism. It's a surfing coast, people do a lot of yoga, and there are many restaurants. Well, Costa Rica itself is a very touristic place. It's known for its beaches, volcanoes, and biodiversity. Roughly a quarter of its area is made up of protected jungle, teeming its wildlife including spider monkeys and quetzal birds. This girl who I talked to, she's living in the Pacific coast, the ideal place for surfing and bodyboarding. The season starts during the first days of November until April or May. Then comes the low season, where at the end comes the rains in September and October. Everything is closed during these times to finally start the so expected season again in November. Now, talking about hotels, there is a great diversity of choices nowadays, from 5-star hotels to hostels, bungalows, residential houses, Airbnbs, etc. Now I want to talk about a contemporary issue that we are all living now. The coronavirus, yes. I asked this girl what is the current situation about the pandemic in that country. Sorry, I'm drinking water after every pause I make. Okay, so this girl told me that Costa Rica has taken the situation very good. Until now, there are only 1,500 cases of infected people in different locations. And in Santa Teresa, where this girl is living, there are no cases registered. The main issue in Costa Rica now is the entry of Nicaraguan people who are irregular or undocumented. And this is something that is starting to worry Costa Ricans because the coronavirus has affected much more in Nicaragua. So due to this, since they have no army, there are state police teams deployed at strategic border points throughout the region to inspect a group of people who are called the coyotes. And these coyotes are people who take Nicaraguans to the border with Costa Rica for a few dollars. Now I want to give you some tips you probably didn't know about Costa Rica. So, tip number 1. Costa Rica lives out of coffee plantations, tourism, football, and agriculture. There are so many things about Costa Rica and the pura vida lifestyle. Once you come, you'll never want to leave. That's what they say. Tip number 2. It's not a cheap country. Although Costa Rica is still a developing country like most other Central American countries, they don't have cheap prices at all. In fact, some things can be even more expensive than in the US. For example, cocktails are very more expensive. Groceries are just as expensive as in the US. Gas is twice as much as the US. And some tours can be up to $100 per person. So you need to plan and budget accordingly so you don't end up spending more than you. In Costa Rica, prices are not as low as you might think, like I told you. Its currency is named after Christopher Columbus. Their national currency is called the colon. Before the currency was named colon, it was called peso. And in the colonial period, they used cocoa seeds. Today, $1 is around equivalent of 519 for colon. Tip number 4. The president is the richest man with a net worth of $10.8 billion. There aren't so many billionaires in Costa Rica and little millionaires as well. It's estimated that around 85 people are millionaires and there are far fewer claiming the billionaire status. The richest man in the country just so happens to be President Carlos Alvarado Quesada. Tip number 5. Drug trafficking in Central America and Latin America is still a major part of the day-to-day life. The biggest drug dealers are getting more and more inventive when it comes to ways to ship their drugs. Police caught 2 tons of cocaine in a boat. Oh my God, that's nuts! It was packed in small batches, each weighing about 1 kilogram, hoping that police wouldn't notice them. Unfortunately for them, the boat was intercepted by the Costa Rican Coast Guard and the cocaine was seized. In a year, over 17 tons of drug are seized by police, and that's only in Costa Rica. Tip number 6. Prostitution is legal in this country, but only if done in special brothels and respecting all rules. Many of the activities around it are illegal, such as drugs and pimps. Transsexuals and gay people are also welcome here, but to a certain extent, because the main religion is Catholicism. The UN organization is constantly trying to help Latin America fight illegal and child prostitution, but since in Costa Rica prices are so low, it's not going to change anytime soon. So this is all I can tell you guys about Costa Rica. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And I also hope your family members and you are all okay at home. Bye bye, mates. Peace.